Namaste, everyone. I'm Bhuwan from Coach Me Nepal. I'm here again with another awesome learn and grow session. This session is going to be the last one on self-esteem, but we will mostly focus on state management today. So let's get started. Let's talk about being in a state. Sometimes we're obviously not in a very pleasant state, right? At times it feels like the whole world is conspiring against us. Let's say you were up most part of the night as your 7 months old son kept crying every 30 minutes, and you had one of your worst nights possible. And as soon as you got up in the morning and you looked at your clock and you realized that you were running 20 minutes late, and you get out of your bed grudgingly cursing your clock because you did not hear the alarm go off. And when you rush into your car to get to your office, your car would not start, and you get out of the car deciding to take the taxi instead. And then after you walk for a couple of minutes, a taxi starts pouring down heavily, it starts raining heavily, and you're half soaked when you get into a taxi. And then you finally get to your office feeling frustrated or whatever you're feeling at that moment. And then your boss kind of comes into your office and then hands you a couple of proposal writing assignments and tells you that they need to be completed by the end of the day. And it's 5 p.m., time to go home. You're supposed to head home, but your proposals are nowhere close to completion. Then your wife calls you to inform you that your child is not feeling too well, and he needs to be taken to the doctor. And she tells you, you need to come home as soon as possible. In a situation like this, you're definitely in a state, right? You're in a state of anxiety or frustration or whatever you're feeling at that moment, whatever kind of state you're in. In popular terms, being in a state is seen to be an intense negative experience. However, most of us know that we can experience both negative and positive states depending on specific context, what context we're going through. So when we talk about states, what are we actually talking about? When a number of physiological and psychological events and your behaviors converge, and this coming together lasts for long enough period of time to be observed by others or you are in a state. When you're in a state, you could feel your breathing change, your muscles tensed up, or see changes in your blood pressure, or even changes in your skin color. Of course, these are only some of the examples out of many more. Positive states, on the other hand, can be pleasant, and you may experience feelings of joy, harmony, happiness, content, and maybe others can even see some kind of radiance on your face. You may have heard people say something in line with, "Oh, you're glowing today. What's up with you?" So right, they can actually sense a state in you, right? They're observing states in you. You may notice when you're in a positive state, you may notice your level of confidence shoot up, or maybe even one of your life's biggest challenge now suddenly seem not so challenging anymore because you're in a positive state, right? So we also seem to keep various states of for situations that we frequently go through in our toolbox. We usually carry a toolbox of states with us. For example, you might automatically feel you're in a relaxed state when you're listening to your favorite song, or you might see yourself going to a state of anxiety every time your father discusses your career with you. Or you may also experience states of stress and anxiety every time you think about exams or tests. Similarly, you may feel you're in a positive state of happiness when people wish you on your birthday, or you may experience a state of contentment every time you look back at your past achievements. Or you see yourself in a state of high confidence when your colleagues are giving you compliments on your skill sets. But what you need to keep in mind is that observation is the key if you really want to understand or see how states actually work. Maybe you can look at your own family. If you pay attention, you will notice that children seem to have quick and speedy recognition of state changes in adults because they're awesome observers, right? I myself remember a lot of times in my own childhood when my parents were in their own states, sometimes negative ones, they would not even see if I was around or acted as if I was invisible. Even if I didn't see them argue or fight in front of me, I could easily sense that there is something wrong by simply observing their states. They probably thought that I would not notice or felt that I was too busy playing on the floor or even too young to understand. Whether we like it or not, our children are watching us all the time. They're saying that children are, there's a saying that the children are like sponges absorbing the world around them. This is especially true of the emotional atmosphere that surrounds them. When it comes to relationships between their parents, all eye rolls are noticed, all whispers of criticisms are noticed. No matter how hard we may try to conceal our problems, children are very sensitive to states and their parents are in, and are directly influenced by the way their parents interact. So, if you want to really see it in action, be like children, observe. This is how you study how states affect people, you yourself, and people around you. So observation is the key. Now, if we examine our own past or some of the situation mentioned earlier, right, there are obviously some very crucial interconnecting ingredients to create different states, right? So without these ingredients, without these things, states would not occur. So some of these are feelings and emotions like anger, irritation, joy, happiness, and so on. Right? Unwanted or unexpected pressure on can also create states. Pressure on you or anyone else, right? That can create states as well. Or you could even say pace. If you feel hurried into a situation, you may feel certain states. And conversely, if you are allowed leisurely pace, you may see completely different set of states in you. Uh, Body language can also create states. If you sense changes in voice tones or feel constantly distracted by something, your degree of focus, when you feel you're too busy, or you're moving too fast, or with a lot of speed, all of these create states. They're all affecting your states all the time. So to summarize, we can say states are made with various interconnected ingredients. Each of these ingredients are important. When you change one ingredient, your entire state as a whole is affected. Changing states requires you to affect one or more of your actions, thoughts, and or feelings in any order or combination. If you change your thoughts, your state can change. If you change your feelings and actions, your states can change. Or if maybe, if you change your action, change what you're currently doing, your state can change. So if you're in a negative state and you can change your thought process or your thoughts, or if you can change your actions, your state can change into positive ones or better ones. Obviously, when we feel we're in an undesired state, we want to change it. There are various ways of achieving state change and also to recreate positive states. Of course, our goal should be to create more good states and less of the bad ones. When we discuss state management or state control, we should be studying our own strategies for good states. How do we create them? Like when we're relaxed, when you're relaxed, how do you create that state? And how to have more of them as much as possible. And also analyze ways to help ourselves avoid or minimize bad states. So when you're happy, how do you do it? What actually triggers that happiness? What is your strategy behind that happiness? Study it, Ask yourself a lot of questions and then try and replicate it. That's how you create states. Or when you're motivated, what are you doing exactly? What is creating that state of motivation? Some people may feel that some of the negative states seem to motivate them towards their goals. And this happens quite often too. They may look at themselves in a state of, they may find themselves in a state of anxiety because they feel they're a little overweight. But that state may inspire them into a workout routine or a commitment towards workout, right? So a negative state can drive you closer towards your goal. Whereas some people may seem to be driven into action by positive states, created by imagining their fit and healthy body. So someone might think, I want to have a really fit, healthy body. I want to be healthy. I want to live longer. I want to be more energetic. And that might encourage them or motivate them towards a workout commitment. But as coaches, we've seen that it is very important for us to look at what states drive our motivation, and we also feel that it is magically effective to cultivate habit of setting goals driven by good or pleasant states. Right? Instead of having a goal of, instead of saying, I don't want to be poor, your goal could be, I want to have financial freedom. So try and state your goals in positive states. Now, how to map your states? It may appear quite clear to you that you would want to spend most parts of your days experiencing pleasant and empowering states. But some people don't want to let go of their unpleasant states. If you're looking for ways of improving your self esteem, it would help if you actively listened into what amount of your time you spend in undesired states. Or how much of time do you feel you spend in pleasant or helpful states? This is important if you want to build your self esteem. And how do you see these states helping or helping you grow or helping you improve? So, how do you see these states helping you grow or improve? Some states can be pleasant but limiting. A pleasant state may be encouraging you to stay in your comfort zone, and hence you don't try new things, and that could hurt your self-esteem a little bit, right? So you might feel be in pleasant state for a number of years, in regards to your work, and you're doing the same thing over and over again for 5 years, 6 years, and you're completely fine. You're in a pleasant state, but that is actually limiting your growth, right? So if you were in a more challenged state, if the state was more challenging towards you, maybe you do something to get out of the comfort zone, and it would help your growth, right? So also during dangerous situations, stressful or anxious states can actually save yours or someone else's life. Whatever it is, you should examine how much of your time do you feel you're spending on which states, helpful states or limiting states. So there are a few questions you need to ask yourself. Question your states and gather as much information about them as you feel is possible. If you have to, take notes. Ask yourself if you experience some of these states too often, right? It happens too often. Then ask yourself what could be triggering them. Why am I experiencing these states regularly? What could be the positive intentions of your state? If you're in a negative state every morning, every time you think of going to work, it may be trying to tell you something about your work. Maybe it's time to change your job, do something else, or maybe change something in your work environment so that it becomes pleasant. So not all states, um, or let me put it this way, even negative states have positive intentions towards you. A lot of the times your states are trying to protect you in some way, emotionally or physically. And the other few questions you need to ask yourself is, how are your states affecting people around you? Also examine states of people you see around yourself, not just your own state. Examine states of people around you and how do their states actually affect you? and what can you learn from this exercise? And other question you can ask is, which states do you desire the most? What do you want to do more of? Which states do you want to avoid or minimize the effect of? Um, Lastly, I would like to talk about the fake it till you make it thing, right? I'm sure you've heard of the term fake it till you make it, and this concept is also based on state management philosophy. If you can pretend to be confident, act and behave as if you're confident for a long enough period of time, you start noticing positive changes in you. Whether you pretend to be confident or competent or pretend to be an amazing public speaker, anything you want. If you do it regularly, you will start noticing positive changes in you. Here they talk about pretend in the sense that you actually imitate exactly what a confident or a competent person in that specific context would do. So if you're trying to be a great public speaker, so you're imitating someone who's already awesome at public speaking, right? So, and you're imitating exactly what they're doing. So you're copying or imitating their body language, their voice, their tones, their everything that you can see, feel, or hear, right? So if you're practicing something like this, I feel that you need to keep some of the following things, in mind. These are, I think, the basic requirements to make sure that this turns out effectively. So you need to be prepared to practice this exercise regularly or even every day, possibly for several weeks or even months before you start seeing positive results or feeling any observable transformation in you. So commitment is required. Commitment is the key. So this is not going to happen overnight. You need to put effort into this and keep practicing, as much as you can to see actual results. So this is not going to happen tomorrow. If you make firm commitment and keep at practicing it regularly, you will eventually notice that these new imitated behaviors become a part of you or will become second nature to you, right? So this starts becoming very natural to you. Then it will not even be imitation anymore. It will just be you, right? After practicing enough, you're not imitating anymore. It is important that you imitate the body language of someone who is an expert in that specific area as accurately as you possibly can. Right? Accuracy is very important. Try and do a lot of research before starting to imitate. Make notes. What's the body language of the great public speaker that you're imitating. What kind of voice or tones he uses when he's giving his speech. What kind of hand gestures does he use, or everything does he or she uses, of course. And the other thing is, when you're imitating someone, make sure that you're paying attention to the way that the person would look, sound, or what they would feel. I know it may not be possible to imitate his or her feelings exactly, but the idea is, if you can close your eyes and imagine how she or he would be feeling exactly at that time, you may actually get an accurate enough sense of his or her feelings. And that takes you close enough, right? And these are the things that you need to keep in mind when you're imitating someone. Or in NLP terms, this is also called modeling, right? You're modeling behaviors of an expert so that you become like them. And don't think of this as any, this is not immoral or unethical, or this is not actually fake, because we're constantly learning from people around us anyway. Ever since we were brought into this world, we have been imitating people around us. It started with us imitating our parents, and then our friends, and then famous people or whatever. So this is not actually unethical or unnatural. This is very natural. So do it in a way that empowers you instead of limiting you. So these are some of the ideas I wanted to share with you guys. These are some ideas, not my ideas. I'm only a messenger here. This brings us to the end of the self-esteem tour, I should say. Season since I work in the travel industry, I should use the word tour. That sounds very appropriate to me. So if it's applicable, but who cares? I've actually learned quite a lot while preparing for these sessions, and I would like to thank you guys for this, because if I wasn't preparing these for you, I wouldn't have learned, and this has helped me quite a bit. So thank you. I hope that you've enjoyed these sessions. I'll be back next week, hopefully with a new topic. If you guys have any suggestions, drop us a line at coachmenepal@gmail.com. If you have feedback, do not hesitate to share them with us. We'll be coming with more free sessions and some sessions that are not that free, because these sessions are absolutely awesome sessions and they need a lot of work from us as well, time and work, right? So, and also please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and also comment, because we love you, we really do. And as you know, our goal is to reach and take these learnings to children in remote areas of Nepal who have no access to these type of knowledge. Of course, at no cost. We are targeting to reach 2 million children. So your support would go a long, long way. We also have a lot of programs coming in the next few months. We're planning a NLP practitioner training, NLP master practitioner training, NLP and influence for business professionals. These are some of the courses we're planning to offer in December. So yeah, if you're interested, just drop us a line. Until then, stay safe. Love yourself, love the people around you, be kind to them, because kindness is the answer to everything. And stay positive, and positive in not that way.